Before the candy, before the costumes, there were soul cakes. Small, round, and spiced with nutmeg or sorrow, they were baked in remembrance. In olden days, the poor would go door to door offering prayers for the dead, in exchange for these offerings of flour, butter, and faith. Each cake bore a cross, a marker, one soul prayed for, one bite closer to heaven. But some places, some traditions deviated. In forgotten corners, they say the soul cake did not carry prayers upward, but pulled something downward, that to eat one was to accept a burden, a name, a curse, and in one house, a place lost to most maps, but found by every shadow, the baking never truly stopped. This is Crooked Hinge. The tray has been polished, the guests are on their way, and tonight, the cake is warm.
Ah, curious thing, the scent of the living. Come in, come in. We've been expecting someone brave, or terribly misled. Shine for the sorrowful, glean for the grim. No tarnish before the gathering, not this year. They'll be arriving soon. Always do. You'd think folks would stop knocking after the last one. Still, tradition is tradition. Polished forks, clean glasses, souls in tidy rows. Tell me, do you polish your intentions before company comes, or just hide them in the drawer like everyone else?
You brought cake, right? No? Hehehe. That's okay. I'll just borrow your name. Ugh. And look, a letter just for me, tied in string and smelling like secrets. Finally, I knew they hadn't forgotten me. I've been ever so patient. Well, mostly. Let's see who else gets one. And who gets eaten.
Oh, it's here. It's mine. A real invitation. They remembered me.
Ah, the invitations. 11 names, carefully scribed. 11 doors, quietly approached. For most, it was the first knock in years. For others, the first knock that wasn't inside their head. Petula squealed. Sibber scowled. Ruxley blinked once and called it a win. Grumley hugged his. Elspeth tried to trade hers for a thimble and a button. Even Droven, yes, Droven, paused his eternal guard to breathe in the scent of wax and dread. They hadn't been summoned like this in ages. Not since the last cake. And while excitement might not be the word for all of them, they were coming, one way or another. They arrived as invited, some dressed for the occasion, some hadn't dressed in days. The table was long, the names were many, but not all names matched the faces that wore them. Still, they sat. Old rituals returned without explanation. A bell that no one rang, a glass that refilled itself, a napkin that refused to unfold, and through it all, they played along. Because it was better to pretend to remember than admit they'd forgotten. And then, Morton lifted the dome. The cake, heavy as stone, dark as regret, decorated in names no longer spoken aloud. One chair remained untouched. Its candle wouldn't light. Its wine stayed still. On its plate, a card, blank. The guests began to shift in their seats. Sibber scratched through his ledger. Petula whispered a different name. And Morton, he smiled. Ah, he said, Grumley is not yet with us. The knife meets the soul cake with a shudder, as though the thing breathes. Morton presses harder, but the blade will not pass. Something within refuses. A sudden crack, steel splinters in Morton's hand. A gasp escapes the table, sharp, involuntary. A cake remains untouched. Sibber rises in a frenzy, finger trembling across the table's breath. Words fly, ancient and stinging. None heard clearly, only the venom beneath. The room fractures, shouts echo, chairs screech. Nelith recoils from it all, one hand over her mouth. Droven grips the edge of the table, like a man trying not to fall. From ceiling to floor, a jagged seam splits the dining room wall. Wind rushes in, not from outside, from somewhere else. Elspeth's lips twitch with a forgotten language. Her fingers tighten around two tarnished spoons, as though they might fend off what creeps through the crack. Condell stands without tremor. All noise falls away. He speaks, simply, gently. I ate my name. And there, on his tongue, letters. Faded, twisting, as if trying to crawl away. The chandelier swings in wild arcs, groaning like something in pain. One by one, the candles die, snuffed by fingers unseen. All eyes fall on Morton. He does not move. His lips part, barely a whisper escaping. He is here. Some absences are louder than screams, and when they return, they bring the silence with them. The ritual would not be finished, not by hands that forgot what they were. Time recoiled like a whip. Candles wept in reverse. The cake remembered, even if they did not. And so they began to fall apart, not in body, but in belief. The collector forgot what she was collecting. The bell ringer heard no bell. One by one, they shed their masks, only to find there had been no face beneath. I have polished every silver surface in this house, not for reflection, but for forgetting. I served them all, the patients and their personas, and in truth, I do not know which of me they were needing, the butler or the doctor. Names are heavy, heavier than cakes, heavier than sanity. They called it a manor, but there were no owners, no heirs, only doors that locked from the outside, and names that were never really theirs. We all wear a name, like icing on a cake, sweet, deliberate, and easy to carve. But if you eat too much of it, you might forget the baker was ever there. And some cakes should never be served